Look at my Hoochie Mama hoops.
I love them.
You love them?
But they really look good on you.
Thanks so much.
It's popping.
It's popping.
Kwanzaa
It's
with
popping.
the lip gloss. It's a look. It's a vibe.
My lip glasses. Do-do-do-do. Hey, come on. Get down. Come on. Get down on it. Come on. Guess what I did? A whole DJ in the making. Can't stop me. Can't stop me. Can't stop me now. On the scene with Douche
and Goose.
A book club, but for movies. Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of On the Scene with Douche
and Goose.
It's so good to have you back. Today is an interesting one because I have only two things to say about this film, but let's get into it. I have a lot of feelings, but only two things to say. Today, we are going to get into I Care a Lot.
So basically, let me remind you before you spew emotion all over the mic. You remember, we chose this flick also because of the fact that it was a newer age film.
Yes.
And I guess a lot of people don't relate with the older films. So it was just to like kind of balance. And just have something which is a bit more young.
And I also had recency bias.
Yeah, youth is nice, guys.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
Timothy 1:19, despise not your youth.
Did you just quote the Bible?
Yes.
Put in the Shawshank was that was beautiful. You're really
well, that's
embodying.
A Bible verse.
It is.
Yeah.
Is Shawshank the one meaning Bible verses?
Yeah.
So proud of him.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Oh wow. So yeah, I think by now you guys have kind of gotten our rhythm and we have a balance of more classic films. I won't call them older anymore because I respect my elders.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
More classic films and then the more new age kind of
nouveau
neo-noir.
Hey. Nouveau
films, right? Because I update my watch list almost on a weekly to bi-weekly basis.
Yeah.
And you're very into like more classical films. I also had recency bias with this film because I had watched it recently when we were selecting the films to discuss. In our first season. First of all, thank you guys so much for interacting with our content, commenting and liking and sharing. We appreciate you so much. So let's jump in. Yeah. Would you like to take us through?
No, this is all yours with your two things to say about this movie. I really want you to dissect this movie for me.
Right.
I want to get to your pain points.
Yeah, let me access my biology classes.
Ooh.
I'm gonna dissect.
Hey.
Okay, so this movie, the main theme in this movie, I don't know whether I'm using the correct words.
You see how aggravated you are. You have not done your usual thing. You need to tell us when this movie was made.
I'm so sorry. Yes, the movie, first of all,
what rating it has on IMDb.
This movie was released in 2020. Who
directed, who starred? Guys, come on.
Yeah, I'm struggling, as you can tell. The movie we are going to dissect today is I Care a Lot.
Yeah.
And this was one of the most aggravating movies I have ever watched for me. It's a 2020 film. Right, released in 2020, starring Rosamund Pike, who carries this theme so well. She's a brilliant actress, written and directed by J. Blixon. It had a 6.3 rating on IMDb, and as we mentioned before, IMDb is
International Movie Database,
and that's what we are using in just our relational aspect when it comes to the rating. We're using the IMDb. We like the fact that they bring in a wide variety of movies. They also bring in a wide variety of filmography for the director and the actors and actresses. So that's the rating that we'll be using on the scene. So the plot of this movie is pretty much in a nutshell. I don't know whether I'm doing it justice.
She's a thief.
She's a thief. She's a robber and a thief. It's about a woman who finds a way to circumvent the system.
Yeah.
And take advantage of the elderly. Mm-hmm. And robber them. She's a robber. A thief, a robber.
Yeah.
She hoodwinks them. She takes all their money and all their possessions and she robs them blind. Blind. That was amazing, wasn't it? Hey. Ta-dang. So that's pretty much the premise of the entire film. It's just that now she kind of meets, quote unquote, her match. Yes, at some point in the film, in the form of an older lady who she decides to also, who she calls her cherry. A cherry is where they find a woman who they believe is wealthy. Or man, actually,
inclusion,
sorry. Yes, inclusion. It is an inclusionary show.
Yeah.
An older person who has no family, they believe is wealthy, and has no one who will come looking for them.
Yeah.
Right? So they assume she's a cherry. Turns out, she ain't no cherry, honey. And she kind of meets her match. Rosamund's character in the show is called Mala Grayson. And I had two lines, not lines, I had 2 points, ticks to review. Found this movie aggravating, and I thought she should have died much sooner. Because yes, in the end, she actually dies. I think she should have died much sooner. So yeah, this movie took me through. I was so irritable when I watched it. I kind of just, everything around me was irritating me. I should have watched this in an enclosed space with candy to give me some sort of serotonin high. It was a lot. It was a lot. And I think that's a testament to the fact that it shouldn't have had a 6.3 rating. I know with a lot of movies, I speak of them emotively with love or like with, joy, or even if it was heavy feelings, it's in a positive light. This one, it took me through the ringer. It did. Yeah. What were your thoughts?
Okay. So before we even move to my thoughts,
Yeah.
I just want to try and understand
Yes.
where you're coming from.
Yes.
With your
Disdain.
your disdain
Yes.
of this film and the lead especially.
Yeah.
Why was it so
Aggravating.
why was it so jarring for you?
Yeah.
Why did it make you so? Because I'm sure you've watched bad movies.
Yeah.
Not bad in terms of the production or anything, but where there's a bad character, where there's a
movies, yes.
you get. I think in one of our episodes you've even told us to watch a movie that even has a trigger warning.
Yes.
But this movie, you've been so adamant in how this character has made you feel. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it about the movie, or what is it about the character or the theme that made you feel so like all the time? Because you have been unable to tell me anything else. And usually you're so eloquent about, okay, so in this part there was this, and then this part there was, but with this one you've stuck to the same
point of
the
view.
same take, the same point of view, like aggravation.
Yeah.
So what is it about the movie?
I think it was the mistreatment of old people for me. That's a sensitive spot for me because I've been a caregiver to my grandparents in times of illness.
Yeah.
And to see, first of all, the vulnerability at which they come and the gentleness of old age. There's something that Mala, Rosamund Pike, says in the film. She says, some old people are also assholes. To something to that effect, with regards to the fact that even though they're old, some of them have been horrible people. And I don't take that away. But there's, I think it's vulnerable people. I hate it when people take advantage of vulnerable people. Okay. And the basis of her business was taking advantage of vulnerable people in the form of old people.
Yeah.
She wasn't, it wasn't about care. It was about advantage.
Yeah.
It was about power. It was about wealth. One of the quotes she says at the end of the movie, or towards the end of the movie, was, and I'll say it, every fortune ever accumulated started with a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And she also said, playing fair is a joke invented by rich people to keep the rest of us poor. So to her, it was always about advantage.
Yeah.
Getting money from them.
And you believe that in that quote she's said?
That playing fair is a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let's get into it.
Because this movie, let me tell you, in as much as this movie jarred you, I really want to hear
let's get into
your opinions on so many, because this movie is multifaceted. It is modern.
It is.
And these are problems which are right here on our doorstep. Things like profit versus people. And you see this a lot.
Yeah.
Like now it's an electioneering time. So you can see it every single day.
Yeah.
You see it with the big companies. You see it with even people who have been friends. Right. These are things which are here with us, and we just have to dissect them and just find some form of common ground or understanding. I don't know.
I think I'm learning also. I might be able to understand something and still hate it, right?
Yes,
So
fair enough.
Even with watching the movie again and understanding, especially there's a time when someone mentioned her mother, when Alexi, played by Peter Dinklage, I think that's his name. Yes, Peter Dinklage. He shows a video of her mom, and she says, "I don't care about that woman."
Yeah.
So you can tell that she's had a hard life and she's come up hard, and that's made her hard.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that that's an excuse, because I'm going to take us back to one of the episodes that we discussed in this season.
Yeah.
That was Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
So playing fair, I'm not saying that it's the popular choice, right? But is it the right choice? And is it maybe a concept used by, as she said, rich people to try and keep the poor people poor? Maybe, but it's not. You can't take something as pure as playing fair and try and just turn it into a tool. It's bigger than just a tool of injustice. Yeah. There's also Utu, humanity, right? And I feel like this movie lacked Utu. It lacked humanity. It's actually, there's a line in Shawshank Redemption that says that you'd have to be human first and they don't qualify. Yeah. And I feel like that related to her. Like, her humanity kind of went out the door the minute profit came into the picture. And it's shown so clearly in how she treated the character of Diane West, how she treated her, because she had so many chances and opportunities to just relinquish her conservatorship of her and just let her be and move on. But it's the pride, it's the thinking I can, it's the
greed.
And then if you think about it, even in terms of the movie, realistically, if you come against the Russian mafia, I'd say put your fucking tools down and run. Yeah. Right? But you're Kichwa. Like, just chill, sis. You have all these other people on your board that you can utilize. You're already making a name for yourself in that field. In a horrible way still. Yeah. But there was also, I think, my aggravation was also built by the fact that she had so much... Her greed got in the way of common sense. Her greed got in the way of being Utu, humanity. Her greed got in the way even of love, because her partner had been harmed and she still decided to stay to, fight for her justice or whatever it was.
But after a conversation with her partner.
Yes, I'm not saying, but you see the thing is, if you really think about even how that conversation played out, I don't think her partner really wanted to stay. She was just kind of just going with Mala's flow. Yeah. Right? So her character... I love Rosamund Pike because she has the ability to do this to me. She's done this to me before with Gone Girl. And she's done it to me again. And I love the fact that she does this, yeah? And I think I'd really struggle with seeing her in a role where she's
like she's nice.
I would think I would struggle because she embodies this. There's a series she's in that's on Prime Video currently called Wheel of Time, and in that she's kind of the protagonist. Yeah, but it's an epic tale, kind of, because it's not even it's not utopic. It's it's another world. You call it what?
Dystopian.
Dystopian. Okay. It's a dystopian tale, but she's kind of she's the protagonist of the show, but even the way she goes about it in an anti-hero kind of way. They're doing the right thing, but
redeeming qualities or something.
Or they're doing the right thing, but going about it in ways that would be considered quote unquote wrong, right? So she has that in Wheel of Time, and I'm glad that it wasn't just her being, just a really nice babe who's just trying to take. She does something to me, Rosamund Pike, but I love her for it, and I respect her body of work for it deeply. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, bestie, first of all, do you realize that this is a movie?
Well,
this is actually, there's acting involved.
Well,
characters are fictional.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Though they may be loosely based on some things that may have happened.
Right.
This is a movie.
Yeah.
And she embodies all those things you've said perfectly. Mm-hmm. And when I tried to look at why this movie was rated so lowly.
Yes.
So many guys were like, "Oh, this is the glorification of capitalism." Oh, this is... But I was like, duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to show. Okay, at least from what I understood. Yeah. Again, guys, we are not experts. We have 9-to-5s. We don't do this for a living. We're just expressing our own opinions. Project. Yeah, so there's nothing
this is passion for us.
wrong or right. So, anyway, I feel like that's what the director was trying to bring out,
Yeah.
and the people who made this movie. Yes, there are elements of real life in this. Like there's a lady called April Parks who had a very big case brought to her by one of her wards. Like a ward is one of those people you take care of. Like the old people in this movie, they're called wards.
Wards, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there was a theme in the movie. There was greed, like I've said, profit versus people, capitalism, like manipulation, greed. And I think she really embodied all these things. And all these things put together are usually referred to in two beautiful words, which have a lot of horrible things in them. Or rather three. The American dream. And that's what it is. The American dream is not given to you. You take it.
And
you have to go out and take it. And if you see, like, honestly, in real life, how many billionaires have, or rich people have clean hands? Someone was manipulated someone. Someone was stolen from. Someone was fucked over so that the other person can climb to the top. And I think those were the overarching themes in this movie, and I think they were really, really well expressed. Sometimes in excess,
too well.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in awe of the acting, the delivery.
Yes,
and I keep mentioning this thing for protagonist, antagonist, but in this case there were two antagonists.
Yes,
who are they were.
Don't you think he was a protagonist first?
Yeah, he was a protagonist because, of course,
trying to save
but
his
he's
mama.
He's not your typical protagonist.
It's true.
It's because it's like bad meets evil.
True, yeah.
So
I like that, bad meets evil.
So for me, even with Rosamund Pike, when what's it called? Roman. He's called Roman.
Was it
Alexi?
Oh yeah, was it Alexi? His name was
called
Roman.
Roman.
Sorry guys, I've been calling
Line-off or something. Roman Line-off or something. Yeah.
Or something like that. Guys.
Yeah. So, Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage.
His character.
Actually, I'm going to find that out now as you continue, please. Yes.
Yeah. So, his character was also like a shitty guy.
Yeah.
And initially when he was presented to us, he was unassuming. He didn't seem like he was such a bad guy. But when you start hearing about the stories and you start seeing the things he's willing to do, okay, yes, they're for his mom, but still,
And even what he does for business.
Yeah, or even what he does for business, So at the beginning, it seems like it's protagonist, antagonist, but it's two antagonists now who are just trying to show like who's the bad one. There's really no protagonist in this movie, and I feel like that's why maybe it's a struggle for so many people. There's no saving grace about it.
And then even the end of it was like, okay, so then two antagonists came together and they formed the New World Order.
Yeah, exactly.
And boom shakalaka,
And isn't that what happens a lot of the time?
It is.
It
is. They just join forces and they decide, rather than try and, one-up each other, let's just one-up the world.
Yeah, and that's it. And like you were mentioning things about Rosamund Pike, like maybe having a hard life, and people are not the same in the way they respond to maybe trauma or to maybe different life experiences and circumstances. When some people grow up in hardship, they vow never to go back there or go through that again. And maybe they work hard, others steal, others do all manner of things too, and everything in between to never experience that again. So, I don't know. For me, the movie still had a charm to it. There was still something about it that was so integrally human. The way humans, like if you're put in a position to earn 1 million, you'll go there. And then someone tells you, now you've earned 1 million, you can earn 2.5. What are humans going to do? You're going to go for the 2.5. Yeah. You won't stop and say, I'm a nice person. Now or at least majority of guys, if they had the opportunity. It's just that guys don't have opportunity. And I keep saying this thing for, once someone has money, that's when their true character comes out. Now you can be whoever you want to be because you have money. Which movie was this where guys were talking about, like, I want to have fuck you money? I can't remember what movie that is, but there was a guy who was saying, like, like, I want to be like rich. And fuck you money is like, yo, today I can be a douchebag.
And I don't give a
Tomorrow
damn.
I'm a saint.
Yeah.
And I can
What
be
you gonna
whoever
do?
the fuck I want to be.
Yeah.
And it's fine, you know. So for me, the movie in that sense, tapping into those human experiences which causes such loathing in us, but they're human experiences. A lot of us maybe are just nice because maybe we don't have the opportunity to be bad. Think about it. You want to tell me if you offer guys the chance to get $1 million, $10 million, do this and get $10 million.
I'm going to tell you a story.
How many guys?
Have you heard of the Stanford prison experiment?
I think I've heard of it, but I can't remember the details.
There's a movie, and I tell you guys especially watch it. What you've said about that, people are just good because they haven't gotten the opportunity. In the Stanford prison experiment, it's a real life experiment that was carried out. And they did a movie on it. Let me tell you, I was trying to remember another movie that has made me feel that aggravated. That movie. And then to know that these things actually happen, because what they did, they put people in an experiment and they told them, we are randomly going to select who the prison officers will be and who the prisoners will be. Please know this is an experiment. But the lengths to which they went, the minute someone had authority, power and money, that line tends to be thin because people with power crave money and people with money crave power. Like it's actually people with power tend to have money, or people will get power to have money. They tend to be married a lot of the times. But that's another movie. Actually, there are not many movies I've watched that have made me feel that emotionally raw. And not in a good way. And Stanford Prison Experiment took me through the ringer as well. It did, because people will go to lengths if you let them.
And I think that's what they were trying to portray in I Care a Lot. I feel like those like
intrinsic.
Some of these things, like if just
latent.
give me.
They're
They're latent actually. Insidious,
insidious.
These are some of those things, like, I don't know, maybe now if I become rich, I'll become like
an asshole.
A yucky guy, You never know. And I feel like this movie really brought that out, It really brought it out, and it brought it out like in your face, in your chest, everywhere. And I think they did justice to it. Sana. And especially the two leading roles that carried the movie, Rosamund Pike and Peter Dinklage, going head to head, then eventually now combining to make a bigger money monster, Capitalism is real. We can try and hide from it as much as we want, but it's real. And it has even already gotten to Africa, even to our country. You can see it everywhere here, So I feel like it's just one of those realities. And I don't know, maybe sometimes people don't like to hear it. And we are human beings, like upende kusikia kitu mbaya. You like things to be rosy and to be, but that's not how they are.
The reality of kwa ground vitu ni different.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, despite all that, I feel like this was a brilliantly written movie. I think, again, I can't stress this enough. The part Rosamund Pike played, I don't know if there was anyone else in the acting world who could have played that role. The way she played it,
Her villain, the way she embodies villain, especially female, sexy, sleek, but ruthless. But I'd be curious to know, like, what other female villains, quote unquote.
Maybe they're just not coming to mind.
Right now.
Yeah.
Fun fact: during this I Care a Lot movie, I've mentioned the Stanford Prison Experiment. They actually mention it in the movie. There's a point where Marla Grayson is on the phone with Sam Rice, who is, I think he's like the head of
the home.
The home, right? That he works with. And he asks her if she has heard of the Milgram experiment, and she kind of brushes him off really fast to get him off the phone. The Milgram experiment is actually the experiment behind the Stanford prison experiment. The guy who created the experiment is called Milgram, and he's very controversial. He's a very controversial professor. His name is Stanley Milgram, and he subjected obeyed authority figures, and they even give like electric shocks to people. That movie was intense. it's like the lens people will go to if you
based
give
on
them.
real,
Yes, it was a real experiment. If you just give them fake power, now imagine if you give them the real thing. Like people go to. It's true. Now, when you started, when you were responding to my tirade about how and you were mentioning that it's a movie, but you see, after what you said, it might be a movie, but there's
lot
so
of
much
it steeped in reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think
fair enough.
It may be even why some people like me shy away from watching news sometimes. Just like national news, international news, because you're faced with so much darkness that it's like sometimes I just want to hide from it and not have to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I understand.
You know, to know, I know that there are a lot of, especially older people, who are taken advantage of in society, even by their own families.
Yeah.
Now, leave alone even like, you know, issues of some sort of conservatorship.
Yeah.
But even by their families, they're taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Another theme that also came through in this movie, and one of the supporting actresses, her name was Isa Gonzalez. She's the one who played her partner.
Fine.
She's
Fine as fuck.
Fine
As fuck.
She really is. She mentioned the relation with this movie to Britney Spears' conservatorship.
Oh yeah. Oh
right?
damn.
And she was saying that now looking at her conservatorship in this film, you understand maybe in a way that we didn't understand before she came out and there was the court proceedings and everything, how bad it gets.
Yeah.
How even there was a point where Mala had retracted a lot of benefits, just not even benefits, just basic rights from Jennifer to try and get her to give her information. Like 30 minutes outside her room, give her the
whole day.
Exactly. Give her the minimum for her pain meds, for her arthritis. Like those are the things that people actually go through when they're at the mercy of conservators. If you have heard or read anything about what's this lovely girl's name? And I've just said her name right now.
Britney Spears.
And what she went through under conservatorship and how her rights were so limited, and to think that a court of law allowed this to go on for so long.
Yeah.
Reality sometimes can be very shitty. Like the real world can sometimes be very shitty. And I think that's one of the reasons why movies are so important, because they also offer us an escape. Escape into another reality, a place where we can revel in maybe a different reality as well, and enjoy it or not enjoy it, and also have conversations about our thoughts and our feelings, you know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But basically, this fantasy was created then for people like you. Because in the end, Mala got what she deserved.
She did.
Or what we thought she deserved, you know.
She did.
There was somewhere I had this thing for someone talking about justice and how we usually feel entitled to justice. Justice is a man-made, it's a man-made construct.
Mm-hmm.
And justice and karma are not synonymous. We usually think they're one and the same thing, but they're not. Because you think someone deserves something doesn't mean that they're going to get it in the end, you know. And that justice that you might be trying to wait for might never even come. You know, you get. So in this movie, I hope you got some satisfaction at the end. When
I remember thinking I wish she died sooner, but then there would be no movie.
There'd be no movie, exactly. And we'd not be sitting here today having this back and forth.
True, but I will say Rosamund Pike.
For sure.
I
for sure.
Like I have no other words. I think I have exhausted.
Yeah, didn't she actually win a Golden Globe for this?
For this role? I'm not quite sure she did.
I think she won a Golden Globe for this.
Understandably so.
I don't know why. Who won the Oscar in 2020? Okay, anyway, in recent movies, I don't think I've been checking out. Who won the Oscar in 2020?
For
the Golden Globe.
Yeah,
she won the Golden Globe for 2020
for
this film.
For this film, it was that good. Yeah,
it was. I fully agree with you. It was the way her acting skills are. They're fantastic.
Yeah, and okay, so I think when we were discussing earlier, I alluded to something. Compare this to our own context and like black tax.
Mm-hmm. You'd mentioned this.
Yeah. So what do you think? Like black tax, okay, because you've made a very hearty appeal to your beloved old people.
Yeah.
Myself included. But what about when it's the other way around? Because black tax basically is, I have to be very careful. The older people now kind of manipulating
It
the
is
younger ones.
manipulation,
Yeah,
yes.
it is a manipulation too.
Yes.
Like,
You
take
owe
care of
us.
them. You owe us because, yeah, I changed your diaper. I didn't want to be
Right.
born.
Yeah, I didn't ask to be.
I didn't allow for you guys to have sex. I am not
Yeah,
the one.
I was
I'm
minding
not the
my
one. Me, I was
business,
just
just was
chilling.
there,
Like,
yeah.
I was somewhere swimming.
I was
and,
having a great
you
time,
know,
grand old time, no taxes, nothing. Just
would you
chilling.
feel, do you still feel as strongly about that now that it's your beloved old people?
About black tax?
Yeah.
Now,
Because of course, you know, when you watch these movies, the movies that you love the most are the movies that are most relatable.
right.
And especially in the context where you
Right.
grew up and how you've come up as a human being, you know.
Right.
So for me, immediately, I was like, oh, there's this end of the spectrum.
Right.
But there's also the other side where the old people are the ones taking advantage of
Right.
you. And old people can be wily, you know.
Yes.
They've been around the block, so they know which buttons to push,
Exactly.
you know. They changed your diapers.
Yeah.
They know all
Yeah.
the pain points. So would you still feel as strongly?
I think manipulation for me all around.
Is
Just generally.
yeah.
Even with parents to their children, whether it's grandparents, whether it's distant relatives,
Yeah.
nuclear family. You're the firstborn, therefore you have to now take your youngest sibling to school, and it's still if you want to carry that burden and that's a choice for you, well done to you.
Yeah.
But to manipulate someone into doing it, I'm a very big fan of TikTok. This is young lady, Asian lady, she lives in America, and she was talking about how her parents have been guilt tripping her into paying her younger sister's fees. Because she went to school and she started doing well. She got a good job, started doing well. Paying her younger sister fees, no problem.
Yeah.
Her youngest, make them, like the parents are making her buy things for her younger sister, and her younger sister is not appreciative at all. She'd come and stay with her and like misuse her space. So when she said, I'm going to stop funding this girl's life if you don't, speak to her about her, they started calling her selfish, like the elder sister. So she went on TikTok speaking about how her entire life she had been made to feel like she owed everybody, and she wasn't the important one.
Yeah.
Right? I think the pain point, even with black tax, is more than just the burden of carrying. It's the fact that it's a thankless job.
Yeah.
No one takes the time to thank you and appreciate you for what you're doing. So
that's very true.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. So it's manipulation, buttered with just people biting the hand that feeds them at the same time spitting in your face. Right? It's a lot. It's all rolled into one and then bundled together. Yeah.
Guys, this is a good movie, by the way. If you can see a movie that brings out discussions like this, please make sure you watch it.
Please, yeah, try it out. It's
and so movie.
That's the thing about black tax. Those are my thoughts. Just generally manipulation in all forms.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's still people who pay black tax willingly and readily because they understand the strife of their family.
I feel like that's an oxymoron. Paying black tax willingly. No, I don't think there's any such thing.
You don't think there are people who understood from, like, I'll give you a firstborn's mentality sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm where I am so that I can. Sometimes you're raised to be a third parent. And so it might not be the ideal way of things to be.
Yeah.
It might not be ideal. But is it some people's reality and they embrace it fully? It is. And will they then maybe one day take it out on their children? Yes. Right? If you think about it, even our parents paid black tax as well. And to them, it just seemed like the thing you do. It's not ideal. I don't even think they ever complained about it because it was just the thing you do. Our generation is the one that came with the, enlightenment of questions like,
Kiasi.
do I really have to? Like, I get, okay, maybe I should want to, but no one is even telling me, thank you, asante apunda ni mateke. And, now the minute I say I can't or I'm struggling here and there and I need to organize a few things, I'm the bad one, I'm the villain. Are you crazy? Crazy.
Such crazy ladies.
So I think there are people who do it willingly. Maybe they don't understand.
I don't think there's anybody who pays. First of all, the term black tax already is wrong.
Right.
So there's no way there's a duality in saying,
even with an ignorance.
I'm paying black tax willingly.
Even with ignorance, because they don't. You see, they don't put it that way. They just do, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
But you see, that means that is someone who has been conditioned all along to feel like they need, or to feel like they need to carry. And you've mentioned firstborns so rightly. Firstborns are almost like the third parent, you know. It's not, a kid should be a kid.
That's true.
So by the time you're the one now feeling from a very early age that you should get your family out of this situation or out of that situation until everybody's okay, then I won't be okay. When are you going to live your life? You'll be 70. Now when the youngest has grown up to maybe 20 or 30 and they have their shit together is when you'll start to live your life.
And then it's also the transference to their children, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
makes sense.
There's nothing voluntary about black tax. There's nothing. It's either forced on you or it's conditioned all through.
Yeah, so
Hakuna hata sile hujui, you've been manipulated already before.
Okay.
You know, you've been conditioned before. Because you will feel the need.
Guilt.
You know, it's not a want. It's a need. No, like I have to.
Honestly, all the therapists in the world have stood up to clap for you right now because I know they're dealing with it.
Black taxes. So for me, this movie, I think maybe I watched it with a more relaxed approach or demeanor. But now talking about this black tax, it's just because I thought about it as I was watching the movie and I was like, so they're taking advantage of old people. But in the African setting, sometimes the opposite happens. Because in the African setting, you would be shunned if you, say, threw your parents away, threw them into a home.
Actually, what's a home? What's that? Where are they?
Sidani maybe it will take root long after we're gone, but you'll be shunned. And we've had so many discussions. We've seen so many discussions in and around even toxic family members, toxic parents, you know.
Yes.
So, this movie is a live wire. It touches on a lot.
It does.
It really touches on
tentacles.
a lot. But I think it was brilliantly done. I feel like movies are an experience. If you are to really enjoy one, just allow yourself to experience the movie for what it is and not what it should be. But I think this was done brilliantly and it was done well. And the execution by the actors, the director, and everything else was really good. 6.3 is harsh, and I guess because of the way it made people feel, a lot of people feel, you know, old people mostly are beloved, you know, like old people, like an old cute person, like just
and they sort of
just
let them cute, all of them when they're old.
All of them, barring none, you know, even when they're grumpy, they become even cuter.
Sana, actually.
So it's I think it really jarred people because these are old people.
So as you said, it's a live wire.
Yeah, it's just,
and if you're an empath, I would say tread with caution. Yeah, this might be a rough one for you because if you're an empath, you might have a hard time. Tread with caution.
Yeah, but guys, watch the movie. It's a really good movie.
It is. Yeah. I agree with you. Let's talk about movies you'd recommend that you think are similar to this.
Oh, is there anything that is similar to this? Okay, probably Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah, we were talking about
that's another glorification of capitalism that happens.
Right, that's true.
You know, again, if you look at that movie and the time in which it was made, and you'll read the backstory, like the real Wolf of Wall Street, you know, like these are guys who make their millions off the backs of other people. People are losing their homes, people are losing everything that they've ever worked for. And other guys were flourishing, you know. So it's another one that really, so I think Wolf of Wall Street would be another recommendation that is in the same line, same genre probably. The Big Short
gives you the
also
other side of the story.
Yeah, it kind of gives you the other side of
what people on the ground are going through.
You
when
know,
capitalism is at its height.
There are many movies for capitalism. I don't know why they're not coming to mind now, but and there are some biopics which are also kind of in the same, you know, like The Founder. This McDonald's.
There's also a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a biopic. Yeah, that's what you said.
The Founder,
The McDonald's story. Yes.
Which other one? Even this Steve Jobs one. You know, same thing.
Social Network.
Ruthless Social
On
Network.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg.
So this movie has been made many times in many different forms.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes because we know the personality in real life, maybe it's a softer landing. Because you know a Steve Jobs, you have an iPhone.
Well, I think
you have
also
been on Facebook. I don't know. I don't know if it gives it a softer landing,
or maybe
if
it's
it gives
because
it,
the victim on the other side is not someone you can necessarily pinpoint. Like it's a generalized
exactly.
victim.
Okay.
You know, with this
Fair
one,
enough.
it's a fixed victim. It's the
Yeah,
older people who, of course, are, you know, I don't say way. It's just, you know, the people you want to take care of in society.
The
With
vulnerable.
Steve Jobs' Social Network, it's more like, you know, a generalized victim.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Even with Wall Street issues, it's generalized.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, the Wolf of Wall Street, the actual guy, he's on TikTok and his content is here.
Yeah. It's called Belfort, Jordan Belfort.
Mans is, wow.
Yeah.
He's very Kevin Samuels sometimes. Oh, yeah, but his content sometimes makes me laugh, especially when he's talking about the movie and like facts that were true, things that actually happened. Yeah. Something I would recommend as well. There's a series that has just come out recently called Dr. Death. It's a biopic as well. There's a doctor in Texas who was maiming and killing his patients. And
to what end?
So people say that he should have stuck to being a researcher and in academia rather than get into surgery. But people kind of let him away with things because, first of all, he worked in neuroscience, neuro, because he was doing spinal neurosurgery.
Yeah.
So because of the amount of money it was making the hospital per surgery, kind of people just swept things under the rug. And his training school, he had started a project there, and his residency teacher was part of the project. So kind of let him get away with a few classes. We were going through a few surgical rounds. And so in the end, you get to understand a lot about he was a narcissist. So that's probably why he was doing it. He thought he was the best. So even when he was maiming people, he thought he had a God complex. But the reality of the hospital and a lot of the supporting environmental factors were because of the capitalistic nature of things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? And there's also now, it's out as a series, a limited series, of course. And it's also out as a documentary. Okay. And it's also, that one I'll also tell you.
Dr. Death, right?
Yes.
Okay. Jarring
as well. If you are an empath, I'd also tell you, beware.
Yeah.
It will take you through miasma of emotions. It's it really, I had been waiting for plethora of emotions.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a great discussion. I enjoyed that. So now we are going to talk about recommendations. What do you think people should watch that you've watched recently, or something that we should discuss soon that you love? Tell me.
Ooh.
Doesn't necessarily even have to relate to.
Yeah, to relate to this.
Would you like me to go first as you?
I think I found a movie.
Let's go.
It's kind of a gangster movie, but it had that capitalistic undertone. Casino. I'm sure Roy has watched Casino. Casino was kind of loosely based around like how Las Vegas came up.
Right.
You know, how it was built from scratch and how people were fucked over and how the gangsters took over, you know, how basically the mafia and all those things. It's a really good movie. De Niro, of course.
Classic.
That is a beautiful movie. So yeah, that's my recommend for today.
Something you should watch.
Yeah.
I would say Gone Girl. Gone Girl was depicted from the book by Gillian Flynn by the same name.
Yeah.
Wow, Rosamund Pike. That was my introduction to her. She's a brilliant actress. It had an 8.1 rating. It maybe should have even had more. Their use of the English language.
Yeah.
Like I sat down with my dictionary, like in my phone.
Yeah.
Going through bloviate and like it's flowery, beautiful language. And then the thing about the characters, like the character who plays her husband, who's Ben Affleck. I mean, the actor who plays her husband, who's Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
The way he also carries himself in the film, that is also fantastic because it's warped. Like the theme of the movie is very warped.
Yeah.
It kind of takes you through a range of emotions. You're scared, you're worried, you're what the fuck is it's
And I think he carried that role well because Ben Affleck looks like a douchebag.
Yeah.
You know, like he's one of those guys who'd play a douchebag very well because he looks like a douchebag even in real life. Not by virtue of him
especially
having done
then.
anything, just the way he is.
Especially
just the way, he just looks like
2014, yeah.
He looks like those guys for PhD. Papa had dough.
What?
You know, and I can do anything I want, anytime I want. You know, even like if you remember one of the scenes in Gone Girl when he was told to smile.
Right.
You remember when he was told to smile next to the poster? Then he had like this weird...
Yeah, what did she call it actually when she saw it?
I don't know what that thing...
Sneaky, sleazy.
You know,
sleazy smile. Yeah, that sleazy
actually,
smile.
he's a sleazy... He looks like a sleazy guy.
Like
you know.
Even when you're taking the selfie with the lady when she decided, let's take a photo.
Yeah.
He was sleazy.
Yeah.
However, I'd just like to say, we're back to...
Filet mignon.
When we finally get a chance to discuss him as Batman,
I really struggled.
Give me a moment. I just want to talk to Ben.
Ben, are you listening?
Cake City, Valentine Cake House, all the cakes, have them. He was a silver fox. It was his build. It's like Johnny Bravo-ish, but fine. I love him. I've never looked at Ben Affleck and thought he was handsome, but let me tell you, as Batman, I think we're in love. I'm actually going to watch. Soon I'm going to watch J-Lo's documentary just to find out how much more I can dislike.
Hi J-Lo.
And the thing is that I feel like that documentary is really going to touch my heart, but that's a story for another day. So Rosamund Pike and Ben Affleck had an 8.1 rating. Brilliant movie. It was directed by David Fincher, who directed Seven as well, which we'll be discussing soon. Yeah. And of course, based on the book by Gillian Flynn. It's one of those movies I think you should definitely watch, but that has an introduction to Rosamund Pike. She has a way with her acting that's I love the way she does it. She does it brilliantly. Whether it's anti-hero or it's antagonist, let her stay. Let her stay in those.
But they still range. What if she wants to do a rom-com?
Yeah,
she wants to fall in love and be loved.
Okay, go. It's been fantastic, guys. Thank you for joining us once again for another episode of On the Scene. We love to have you here. Thank you so much for your interaction with our content so far. Please keep commenting, keep telling us your thoughts. Keep recommending anything else you'd like us to watch. Yeah, and keep talking to us. We love talking to you guys. Anything, bestie?
Yeah, I think just as a disclaimer, again, we are not experts at anything we are talking about now. We are just revelers, as I like to say. Yeah. So anything we discuss here is not meant to
be all and end all.
Yeah.
We're having a conversation.
Yeah, it's just conversation. We're just enjoying what we enjoy. Thank you, guys.
And as we said, it's a book club, but for movies. So what it is just a place to share our thoughts and our feelings.
Yeah.
And to hear who sides with us and who, thinks differently. Yeah. And to see how maybe the themes in these films relate with our lives. So comment down below. Tell us what you think. Please, if you enjoy our content, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you can keep on getting notifications whenever we release a new episode. We love to have you here and we can't wait to see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. On the Scene was filmed at Nyumba Cinema located at Roslyn Riviera Mall. Give them a call for a cozy private experience at the movies.
On the Scene with Douche
and Goose.
A book club, but for movies.